So, through my interview podcast project, I learned that music is fundamental. It's a part of our society with or without a formal music education. The person I interviewed, Lucinda, had no experience with music education, but music played a role in her life anyways. This is because music is such a big part of who humans are. It's how we pass on information, it's how we celebrate, it's how those who worship. Music is something that can exist only in the classroom, and that's relieving because it means that each person who enters a classroom has their own experience on music that can add to the whole class's experience. Their love for music doesn't rest entirely on how good of an educator you are, and I think that should allow music teachers to give themselves a little bit of grace. So, the Inclusive Installation Controller project was a little bit different this semester because we didn't design a lesson plan or demonstrate it to a bunch of people in real life because of the pandemic. However, I did get to let my family interact with my instrument, and I learned that though I did have to explain some aspects of the project to them in order for them to understand how to use it at the most basic level, much of their learning came from their own interaction with the project. So I learned that it's really important for people to learn from interaction and learn from the mistakes they make along the way. And that's a theme I've seen throughout this semester with my own experiences in class as well. I've had to struggle a lot with some of the projects and kind of figure things out on my own, but I think I've ended up with a deeper understanding of the technology that I'm using than I would have gotten if it were just taught to me verbally. So I learned through my technology-based music making experiences that music is not just orchestra, band, and choir. Music making can be much simpler and much more complicated than that. Through the DAW projects, I learned that newer forms of music making, like digital audio workstations, still require skill. I wasn't able to get on and make something right away that I think people would like to listen to in their free time when I first tried the DAW projects, and I still don't think I could. But even so, this form of music making has the ability to empower students who may not be interested in instruments that would traditionally allow them to call themselves musicians. And I personally am 100% pro anything that helps people feel comfortable calling themselves musicians. I think everyone can be a musician. These new forms of music making, like DAWs and other technology-based musicking, are just as valid and still hold immense musical value. I also learned that apps are a huge help to performance musicians who play traditional instruments. Like in one project, I found that apps could assist singers by providing lyrics during a set, as well as apps that allowed for virtual simultaneous music making. So, the biggest thing I've taken away from this class is that music is not confined to physical instruments in a physical classroom. It's just so much bigger than that, and to put labels on it like that is limiting what it can do. I learned this through the DAW projects and through the podcast interview, which I think were the two projects that I'll really carry with me for a while. If we limit music in this way, if we say that it's only music if it's in a certain time, at a certain place, played on certain instruments, it's keeping so many people from having a relationship with music that is more intense than what they might get outside of the classroom. Even though a relationship with music is still possible without us fostering one in a classroom, it's just that music has the power to do so much, and this technology that we've worked with throughout the year, like the DAW projects and the adaptive instruments, can make it more powerful, more adaptive, and more accessible than a standard orchestra class has done in the past.